hope you enjoyed your dinner. We are now going to begin tonight's program. Welcome those of you at home who are viewing tonight's event via YouTube. As I mentioned earlier, the Hall of Fame is sponsored by the Trinity Alumni Association and the Alumni Board of Directors. I'd like to recognize those alumni board members who are here with us this evening. Please stand as I say your name, and we give you a round of applause. Andrew Heineman, class of 2004, Alumni Board Chair. Matthew Palmerball, class of 2001, Alumni Board Chair-elect. Jesse Ryan, class of 1990, Secretary of the Alumni Board. Brian Bierman, class of 1996. Bobby Clements, class of 1994. Frank Kamphammer, class of 1989. Gary Lange, class of 1961. And Kevin Roof, class of 2006. Thank you for your service to Trinity. Also with us tonight are many members of the Trinity Hall of Fame. Please stand when I read your name so that we may recognize you. And please hold your applause until I have read all the names. And before I start, I'd like to mention that Hall of Famer Dick Belmere from the class of 1959 passed away sadly last week. Please keep Dick and his family in your prayers. And now we'll read the names of the Hall of Fame members here. David Aberly, class of 1975. Jeff Ashley, class of 1985. Glenn Blinko, class of 1973. Sharon Bohannon, honorary member of the class of 2010. William P. Bradford II, honorary member of the class of 2003. Michael Brennan, class of 1981. Greg Brom, class of 1988. Oscar Brom, honorary member of the class of 2008. Joe Bryant, class of 1975. James Campbell, class of 1978. Bruce Deckel, class of 1957. Jody Demling, class of 1989. Stan DeVore, class of 1974. Tom Dubay, honorary member of the class of 1994. Mike Geedy, class of 1972. Jack Guthrie, class of 1958. Bob Hellringer, class of 1969. Roy Hill, class of 1965. Mike Jones, class of 1974. Charlie Kane, class of 1961. John Kleber, class of 1959. Joe Landowich, class of 1983. Larry Link, class of 1972. Charlotte Miller Stingle. Dave Peggy, class of 1981. Mike Pfeiffer, class of 1985. Joey Porter, class of 1978. Paul Resch, class of 1976. Jim Sapienza, class of 1981. Paul Schulte, honorary member of the class of 1992. Scott Senta, class of 1977. Gregory Seisel, honorary member of the class of 2003. Chris Tompkins, class of 1978. Tony Vanetti, class of 1987. Rudy Voles, class of 1973. Frank Ward, honorary member of the class of 2001. David Winkler, honorary member of the class of 2004. Tom Zender, class of 1963. And Father Dave Zettel, class of 1958. If I missed anybody, please stand and let's give everybody a round of applause to all these Hall of Famers. Now I'd like to welcome to the podium Trinity President Mr. James Torra, honorary class of 2012. Mr. Torra joined Trinity in 2005 as a science teacher and associate head basketball coach. He served as activities director and as Trinity's vice president for advancement and director of admissions. Mr. Torra became Trinity's sixth head of school on July 1st of this year. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. James Torra.
Thanks, Jim. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the school, foundation, and alumni boards, thank you for attending this annual event. In a truly special moment, this Hall of Fame induction ceremony that we celebrate every year at this time, and we so dearly look forward to it during this Advent season. I told Jim and Bonnie I would do my best to keep my remarks as brief as possible. But I'll tell you what, that's pretty hard. Because when you work at a place like Trinity, there is so much to share. Each and every day is a true treasure. But my final reminder happened this morning when Father Zuttel stopped by, as he does regularly, and we started talking about tonight, and he was talking about his prayer, and we started talking about tonight, and I said, well, I'm trying to cut my speech down a little bit. He looked at me, he said, good. Now he's over here clapping. So I'm going to do my very, very best. I'm just going to start with some thanks. As Jim said, thanks to members of the Hall of Fame Committee, Alumni Board, and all our current Hall of Fame members for being here supporting this deserving class. Thanks to the Foundation Office, Jim, Bonnie, Michelle, Brooke, Travis, John, and Jane for your hard work all fall at alumni events and for organizing tonight. Thank you to faculty members, Michael Garrett, Adam Klein, Chris Lukin, and two seniors who are here tonight, CJ Taylor and Griffin Brunstetter, who are helping gather images and run the live stream. Thank you for adding this to your calendar. As Jim mentioned, Flick Independent Food Services, Chris Baltus, Chef Alan Henry, and their staff, thank you for adding this to the calendar. It's a busy time of year. We're wrapping up first semester, and to add this, it's a great we have great appreciation for it. To our partners for CEF, Rick Licklider and Julie Baum, thank you again for joining us. Our operations crew, if you haven't noticed, it's been pretty wintry out there lately. I think I saw this is some of the most snow we've gotten in December ever here in Louisville. So the operations crew's been very busy. Thanks to Bill Hogue for adding this and the setup to your calendar. And last, my senior team, Dan Zoller, our principal, Larry Castagno, our CFO, Sean Duggins, our director of athletics, and Chris Kircher, our director of admissions, for their hard work and dedication to our mission. We've had a really smooth and successful first semester, and I'm thankful for their partnership. Next, let me congratulate our inductees. You'll hear more about each as the night goes on. You represent our mission, our vision. You also represent the strength and diversity of our alumni. Dedicated your time and talent as teachers, coaches, professors in the world of finance and corporate America, in human resources, as lawyers, as founding members of our boards, entrepreneurs, war veterans. It's truly incredible. Most importantly, you're role models for our current and future rocks, including those in the class of 2030. Let that sink in for a second. The class of 2030 who took the placement test here this past Saturday. And once again, hopefully it makes you proud, it was the largest group of testers in all the Catholic schools. Good start. You also serve as men of faith and character who made a positive impact not only in our Trinity community, but across the globe. Tonight, we're truly honored to celebrate with you. Your impact on this school will be felt for generations. The culture you helped build has allowed us for the past 6 years to become the largest Catholic and/or private school in the state of Kentucky. Prospective families understand the holistic approach, the holistic experience that students get here over 4 years prepares their son for a successful future. By teaching our students how to think critically, how to solve problems, how to collaborate, how to treat one another, dress appropriately, how to show up on time, and act with respect, it prepares our graduates for success. And not only for success, but to make a positive impact on our ever-changing world. We're truly preparing these graduates for jobs that don't even exist yet. Already this year, we've had one senior earn a full academic scholarship to Dartmouth. We just recently had a group of speech and debate students travel and compete in China. And just recently, our football team earned the 30th state title in school history. That's just a few of the things that have happened this first semester. Hopefully this fills you, our inductees, with pride, because the foundation that you built, the strong culture that you created, it's allowing this to occur. However, what should make you even prouder, just like we have in the past, we refuse to stand still, even with the most recent success. By continuing to follow a strategic approach and listening to the needs of our students, we continue pushing forward. This time with a trinity of projects that will help transform campus. The first is a STEM Career Center. If you aren't familiar with STEM, it's a combination of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. By exposing our students to this, we're presenting them with challenges that develop their higher level thinking skills. This new space, this new STEM Career Center, will expand our current STEM lab from 1,500 square feet to 10,000. It will fill the footprint of what's now at the 4050 building at the end of Sharon Avenue and the corner of Sharon and Westport Road. And I'm proud to say, construction is currently underway. The first floor will house 2 large classrooms, classroom makerspace areas. There'll be a CAD classroom for computer-aided design, a 3D fabrication room, and a teleconferencing center. This will expand our current STEM offerings and expose students to machinery and equipment that's only found on college campuses and modern manufacturing facilities. This space will be unlike any other high school in this part of the country. They're excited too. And it's one of the many reasons why our students are lining up at the door to take these new classes. The current job demand out there in this field matches their enthusiasm. The second floor of this building will house our art program, and our art teachers are truly excited. They're excited about new, modern, well-lit classrooms and more access to technology. Ceramics students will utilize 3D printers to produce examples of what they're going to turn on the pottery wheel. Additional classes in graphic design, digital photography, and animation, to name a few, will complement our traditional art classes that will also migrate to this space. Who will benefit? Our students. More classes, more opportunities, more preparation for the future. In addition, we also have growing plans for a new performing arts center and a renovated Steinhauser Gym Student Center. Situated along Shelbyville Road, the Performing Arts Center will not only provide well-deserved, well-equipped space for our theater and performing arts students, but also for gatherings such as class masses, retreat closings, alumni masses, and various class assemblies. The fall play saw nearly 50 students involved in a fantastic performance that left spectators in awe. Just last night, the same number of students put on a winter concert that ended in a standing ovation. That's nearly 100 students that are involved in the performing arts. One of the largest rosters, if not the largest, of any extracurricular activity that happens here on campus. Although our current auditorium has provided ample space for many years, our theater and music students deserve better, and this new space will provide it. The design also intends to highlight our Catholic identity with features like stained glass windows, a bell tower, and a second chapel. And we're not stopping there. Visioning for an updated Steinhauser Gym Student Center has also begun. The updated facility would offer a modern, versatile space, not only for athletics such as basketball, volleyball, and wrestling, but also special on-campus events such as opening mass, baccalaureate mass, mother-son mass, junior ring ceremony, senior awards day and pep rallies, and many, many other assemblies that happen in Steinhauser Gym and on Dennis Lampley floor, both of which will remain. Together and collectively, this trinity of projects will transform our campus while also enriching the experience for our students. These projects, just like those that came before, come from donations and not increases in tuition. As always, if we can't raise it, we will not build it. Thankfully, we've been blessed by strong support from alumni and friends of Trinity during the first stage of this campaign, who are literally helping these dreams become a reality. Many of them are new donors or those who are making some of their largest contributions to Trinity ever. We are truly blessed. Included in these is a class of 1977 alum David Cinta and his wife Beth, whose groundbreaking gift to the STEM Career Center has allowed us to start construction early. For that, we are truly grateful. And Dave Wilson, a 1975 alumnus, and his wife Marie, whose son Keith is a theater alum. Their generosity has helped us jumpstart plans for the Performing Arts Center. Those two facilities will be named after these great Trinity alums. These types of stories have emerged regularly during this process. Early momentum is very, very strong, and the dedicated campaign committee is energized to continue this work and see who will emerge next. Who will help us finish bringing these dreams to reality? You're okay. We work in a school full of boys. We're used to it. If you have any questions about these projects or like to learn more, please see or contact me, Rob Mullen, Jim Beckham, Chris Tompkins, or Paul Resch, Chair and Vice Chair of the Trinity Forever Campaign Committee. We are more than happy to share information, provide a campus tour, or schedule time to meet individually. In closing, as Father Steinhauser set forth in 1953, our Catholic mission is to open our doors wide and enroll the broadest array of students possible. Nearly 75 years later, that mission continues. And it remains one of the aspects of Trinity we are the most proud of. Hopefully you are too. Congratulations again to our inductees. Thank you for helping us carry out and live out this Catholic mission. Go Rocks and Trinity forever.
Thank you, JT. Each July, the Hall of Fame committees begin their work. The nomination committee meets first to evaluate individuals nominated for the Hall of Fame. These are presented to the selection committee, who then deliberates on each individual and decides on those to be inducted. Their job is to protect the integrity of the Hall of Fame, and they have done exactly that. Thank you to the 2025 Hall of Fame committees. One of the duties of the Alumni Board Chair-elect is to oversee the Hall of Fame nomination and the selection process. Please welcome Matthew Palmerball, class of 2001, Chair-elect of the Alumni Board and Chair of the 2025 Hall of Fame committees. Matt?
Thank you, Jim, and thank you to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here tonight as we prepare to welcome the newest class into Trinity's Hall of Fame. I think earlier tonight, just a few minutes ago, we got to see a number of people here tonight who are in that hall. And because so many of us know those people individually and know what they've done in their careers and the contributions they've made to this school and this community, we know that the Hall of Fame is a big deal. It's very important to us because all of those people are important to us. They have, through their accomplishments and their contributions, made huge impacts on what this school is, what this community is, and what our reputation is. That's part of why, if you're new to this event or you weren't here last year, you may see them wearing a shamrock medallion around their neck. It's a small sign, a small token that these are not just ordinary guests here tonight. These are people who we want to continue to recognize and to thank for everything they've done for us in our school. Turning to the 8 men who we will induct tonight, I can tell you that they stand shoulder to shoulder with those who have come before them. Their contributions to this school, their achievements in their professional lives have had the same sorts of profound impact on our school and our community. I want to say thank you real quick to the members of the nomination committee and the selection committee. Any normal year, that is a very hard job for these men to come in and serve on that committee, sort through lots of very merit-worthy nominations to get to a group like we have tonight. And in any normal year, it takes lots of time and effort and thought and even prayer to make really hard decisions. And I can tell you from having taken part of that process this year that those men carried out their duties very, very well. And I want to thank them for that time and effort that they put into that to come out with a really outstanding class of new inductees to this Hall of Fame. We've been doing this for over 30 years now. We've been writing lots of chapters in a story that is very rich and hasn't been finished being written yet. But I'm very proud to have taken part in the chapters that are being written tonight. And I'm very proud to have had some small role in shepherding the process over the last 12 months. If anybody's interested, it really is work. There's a process, there are criteria. The criteria for being nominated, the minimal criteria for being selected are printed in your program on your tables. You can review those if you're interested. I will say, even though I have been the chair of this committee, I can't say I agree with this at all, but I look around the room and I see proof. I see members who are in the hall. I see one who's coming in tonight, my old wrestling coach, who are proof that even though I'm the chair of this committee, you can still get into the Hall of Fame even though you gave me jug. I still love you, though. Congratulations to all the new honorees. Thank you to the nomination and selection committees, and thank you to all of you for being here tonight, everything you do for Trinity and everything you continue to do for Trinity. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. It's time for our induction ceremony. Tonight, our inductees will take their place alongside other members of the Trinity family who have served our school, her students, and alumni well. The first Hall of Fame dinner was held in 1993 to honor the completion of Alumni Hall. Individuals from Trinity's past and present, living and deceased, grace our Hall of Fame. They all left an undeniable mark on our beloved school. To be selected for our Hall of Fame, one must meet a set of criteria. These criteria are printed in the dinner program. You may have noticed, as Matt said, the Hall of Famers in attendance here tonight wearing a Hall of Fame medal. This was an idea brought forth by Hall of Famer Rudy Voles, class of 1973, after his induction to the Hall of Fame in 2023. It's just one more way for us to recognize and honor those who are in the Hall of Fame. So we don't stretch this evening into the late hours. We won't read every word of the printed biographies. We direct your attention to the program where you can learn more about each inductee. It is now my pleasure to introduce our newest Hall of Fame class. I ask the inductee to please come forward at the conclusion of your introduction. After your remarks, please exit the stage to my right, and you'll receive your obelisk and have your picture taken. Our first inductee is Mike Chancellor from the class of 1975. As a student at Trinity, Mike excelled academically and in sports, including baseball and basketball. After attending Bellarmine University, Mike returned to Trinity to teach and coach. For 42 years, he took great pride in his students and student athletes, performing at their most successful level. Mike and his wife Denise have 2 children and are members of St. Albert the Great Catholic Church. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Chancellor.
Thank you all and good evening. First, I'd like to say congratulations to the other 7 members of our Hall of Fame inductees tonight and their families. For me, tonight is about thanks and gratitude. Thanks to Trinity High School for this honor, especially to our alumni board, the foundation staff, Matt Palmerball and the Hall of Fame committee, our current president, James Tora, and past president, Dr. Rob Mullen. My gratitude goes out to my wife, Denise. That's fine. We're used to it. I did the lunchroom proctor for years. My sons, Michael and Stephen, and their wives, Amy and Kellen. My mom, Frida. My brother, Ronnie, and his wife, Kendra, and my brother, Tim. My wife's family, Tricia, Ryan, and Porter. My friends, classmates of 1975, all former and current faculty members, and the previous Hall of Fame members. Thank you. My decision to come to Trinity began in quite an unusual way. Our family lived on Linden Lane, just off Shelbyville Road. We had 13 Xavier brothers who lived directly behind us. We talked often. With their influence, I decided to take mine to exam at St. X. As registration rolled around, it was decided that it would be easier for me to ride the bus down Shelbyville Road to Trinity. So thanks to Tark, Trinity became my second home. During my 4 years, there were so many great teachers that influenced me. My geometry teacher, Pee Wee Carey, and physics with Bob Hubler. They taught me the importance of connecting mathematics and science to everyday applications. Taking English with Father Castor gave me the importance of being positive and being involved with each student's hobbies and activities. The retreat program with Father Ron Domhoff and Father Dave Zettel taught me that the 4th day never ends. My coaches, Joe Thompson with basketball and Rich Rostel with baseball, gave me the importance of a strong work ethic, teamwork, and that competition brings both success and setbacks. One such occasion was when I got a phone call, we at home got a phone call from Coach Rostel after our season ended at the state tournament my junior year. He asked me to ride back down to Moorhead and watch the championship game with him. After the game ended, we stayed for the post-game ceremonies. The next thing I know, the PA called my name for me to join the all-state tournament team out on the field. Coach Rostel always went above and beyond. Thank you, Justine. Fast forward, midway through my junior year at Bellarmine College, my advisor called me into her office and told me I had to declare a major. I didn't say anything. I didn't respond. I was playing baseball. She asked, once baseball is over, what do you see yourself doing? I said, I want to coach at the college or at the high school and possibly higher level. So she placed me in secondary education with an emphasis on mathematics. While teaching my first year after college, I received a call from Father Durer asking me to come back to Trinity. I said yes without hesitation. It was my dream job come true. Thank you, Father Durer. Once at Trinity, with the class of 1981, I began my teaching and coaching duties. My teaching assignments in the 80s included algebra, geometry, college algebra, and trigonometry. With our changes in the academic structure and the implementation of the traditional program, I felt a strong need to be involved. I wanted students with learning differences to be successful and have that opportunity to attend college. This was my inspiration and the drive for the next 30 years. I was influenced and motivated by my wife, Denise. She had a degree in special education. When I struggled in the classroom and brought it home, she would offer me new strategies to try in order to help my students. For that, I'm very lucky and grateful. Thank you, Denise. Love you. Once the school day ended, my sports activities began. I'm very grateful for being an assistant with Rich Rostel for baseball, Joe Thompson with basketball, Brother Charles Cully for soccer, intramurals with Joe Bryant, and the press box with Mike Giedig. Each individual gave me insight to what I wanted to be as a future head coach. While head coach of baseball and fishing, gave me the opportunity to give back to my student athletes that were given to me. My assistants were the best, former professionals and Trinity alums who gave it to their very best every day. To all my head coaches and its assistants, thank you. You made a huge impact in our student athletes and lives. The last thank you goes out to a special group of faculty friends and a few others that came down to visit, who I spent 20+ years with during spring break, sharing time on the lake fishing, sharing meals and fishing stories, of course, around the campfire. Those memories will never be forgotten. Thank you, guys. In closing, Denise and I were asked recently to describe the meaning of joy in one word and write it on an ornament. We both said the same thing immediately. Joy for us is family. our family, and our Trinity family. With much gratitude and thanks, go Rocks.
Thank you, Coach. Our next inductee is Greg DeMuth from the class of 1981. Greg credits his success in family, career, and community to his roots in Catholic education. As a student at Trinity, Greg excelled at soccer, going on to play for Bellarmine University. Greg spent most of his career in corporate banking and commercial lending. He's been honored for his extensive community service. Greg and his wife, Margie, have 4 children and 4 grandchildren. They're members of St. Albert the Great Catholic Church. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg DeMuth.
Thanks so much. Good evening, everyone. President Tora, former President Mullen, Principal Zoller, fellow honorees. I would like to begin with my profound appreciation for Rob Mullen and his 42 years of devoted service to Trinity High School, nearly 25 as president, as well as to Dan Zoller for his impressive dedication to Trinity for over 30 years. And as a formidable team, they have forged a remarkable chapter in Catholic education marked by innovation and a steadfast commitment to Trinity students. So thank you, President Mullen and Mr. Zoller. President Tora, good luck. No pressure whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, I love Trinity High School. I am beyond thankful and blessed to be here with you tonight, and am extremely grateful to be accepted among all previous honorees, and especially happy to be joining many of my fellow 1981 classmates. Now, there have been extensive rumors of a potential recount regarding my entry, so I believe it would be wise for me to speak with great haste so that President Tora does not move forward with any of the numerous petitions that have been circulated for a recount of the Dominion voting machines. Now, Trinity is where I formed most of my lifelong friends, many of which are here tonight from as far away as Minnesota, California, St. Matthews, and even Poplar Level Road. And while Trinity is where I truly began my lifelong formation as a young man, where I learned to love my Catholic faith, and where I learned the meaning of jug. So, while my wife Margie and I began dating after my time at Trinity, we're confident that we did share some Sunday evenings with Fathers Zettel and Dumhoff at Mass, after possibly sharing a few cocktails the night before. Among the traditions of the Catholic faith that I love is the Litany of Saints. And as Father Michael Schultz, our associate pastor at St. Albert the Great and dear friend, often says, we are all called to be saints. I like to think that we have our own Litany of Saints here at Trinity High School, those teachers who sacrificed personally when they could have earned more financially in other professional endeavors, who interceded for students in need and challenged young men to use the maximum effort of their soul, who saw greatness in unproven 15 to 18-year-old young men who are true, genuine leaders of these students. Among the greatest in my life was Father Kevin Castor, who happens to be the uncle of my wife, Margie. If you were late to class, Father Kevin might greet you with a technical foul and a query to the class: do we send him to the disciplinarian, Mr. Esterly? So he and I actually became close friends. Father Kevin's, teaching methods were legendary, such as, Mr. DeMuth, can you name the protagonist, antagonist, and deuteragonist in The Catcher in the Rye? To which I would think quickly to my review of Cliff's Notes, our day's version of AI, and respond with excessive false confidence which he would retort with something along the lines of, back, 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 back. Oh, no, no, no. Did anyone here actually read The Catcher in the Rye? I also had the benefit of my mother having grown up next door to Father Ted Sands. And on the infrequent or frequent occasion when my work was substandard, I could always stop by a class early and wax poetic with Father Sands about how my mother had asked about him, wished him well, and wanted to reminisce about their days growing up, and suddenly my substandard became a solid B. I get the benefit of seeing Mr. Bradford here tonight, who overcame the stench of malodorous sophomores coming straight from PE class where they had not yet acquainted themselves with a shower. Somehow he seemed to overlook all that to make Beowulf interesting, so thank you. I've been blessed with a wonderful, wonderful family. My mother, Carol, a proud Pres grad. All of my siblings are here tonight. Karen, Paula, Steve, Joan, Chris. My father, Paul DeMuth, a fiercely loyal Flagey graduate, is here with us in spirit tonight. Many of you have heard me comment before about my incredible saintly mother, defined by her selflessness, kindness, and prudence. My dear mother knows as well or better than anyone our family's formation can easily be summarized in her standard response to times of joy and sorrow, which, mother, is, thank you, Jesus. My family is centered in two remarkable schools, Trinity and Assumption. My son's son-in-law, brother Chris, 5 nephews are proud Trinity graduates. My wife, Margie, my 2 daughters, daughter-in-law, along with 3 sisters-in-law and 3 nieces, are proud Assumption graduates. My wife, Margie, is proof positive that there are indeed angels. As a retired teacher at St. Albert the Great, Margie exemplifies the importance of a Catholic education and the teachers that sacrifice to provide such. Margie has blessed us with 4 beautiful children, as referenced earlier. Matthew and his wife, Allie, Elizabeth, her husband, Eric, Robert, and his beautiful girlfriend, Katie, and Catherine, and her husband, Rob DeWitt, along with 4 grandchildren, Audrey, James, Benjamin, and Louise, classes of 20, 41, 43, 43, and 44 at Trinity and Assumption. So it seems appropriate that we're celebrating Trinity during this wonderful Advent season. Just as we ready our hearts for celebrating the birth of Jesus, Trinity prepares our hearts for works of charity, hope, and love. Just as we prepare ourselves to focus on the coming of Christ, Trinity prepares young men to focus on joy received through prayer and unselfish acts that uplift others. As our readings instructed us this past weekend, God will strengthen the hands that are feeble, make firm the knees that are weak, say to those whose hearts are frightened, fear not, be strong. Here is your God. Friends, that is Trinity High School. That is the transformative work that is performed daily by everyone on this campus. So, Trinity, blood brothers, for life. I thought long and hard, how do I honor Father Kevin, Mr. Bradford, Father Sands, Mr. Ward, who I saw here, with a proper quote of a poem? Do I go Byron, Shelley, Keats, which would sufficiently honor them? In the end, I opted for a different romantic poet by the name simply known as The Boss, and his poem, Blood Brothers. But the stars are burning bright like some mystery uncovered. I'll keep moving through the dark with you in my heart, my blood brothers. So, may God bless each of you with abundant faith, hope, and love. Go Rocks, and thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Greg. Our next inductee is Ken Ellenbrand, honorary class of 2007. For more than 3 decades, Ken stood as a teacher, coach, and mentor whose steady influence shaped the character of thousands of young men. And I'm proud to say I was one of those. Ken's reputation went beyond lesson plans and textbooks. He demanded excellence while showing genuine concern for each young man. Ken and his wife, Mary Sue, have 2 children, 1 grandchild and 1 great-grandchild. Speaking on Ken's behalf is his son, Scott, class of 1995. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Ellenbrand and Scott.
Good evening. I have the honor of addressing you tonight on behalf of my father, Ken Ellenbrand, who's seated right down here in the front. I hope I can live up to his example tonight, and these are his words that he asked me to share with you. First, thank you. Thank you to Trinity, the Hall of Fame Committee, to my colleagues and friends, and to everyone here tonight. I would like to give a special thank you to my wife, Mary Sue, my daughter Julie, and my son Scott. Coaching any sport at this level is an extensive time commitment, and there were years that I coached 3 different sports. I'm truly grateful for their sacrifice, love, and support. I could have never accomplished what I did without you. When I look back at my time at Trinity, I don't think first about championships or records. I think about faces. I think about freshmen walking into my classroom at 8 o'clock in the morning, half awake, a little nervous, not quite sure who they were yet. I think about watching those same young men walk out of this place 4 years later, stronger, more confident, and more grounded in their faith and character. I always thought of myself as a teacher first. Whether I was in the classroom, on a football field, or in a wrestling room, the job was the same. Teach young men how to work, teach them discipline, teach them to believe in themselves, and teach them to become the best version of who God made them to be. Now, some of you probably remember me as the loud teacher in the cafeteria collecting IDs for KP duty. That's fair. And honestly, if you ended up on that list, you probably deserved it. There's a note here that says, especially Vanetti. I don't know what that, but seriously, I pushed you because I believed in you, often before you believed in yourselves. I cared deeply about every young man who came through this school. But I didn't do any of that alone. One of the great blessings of my career was the people I had the good fortune to work alongside. People who didn't just work here, but who lived what Trinity stands for. I am honored to share this moment tonight with 2 of them, Mike Chancellor and Tony Lococo. I think of the teachers who set the standard in the classroom, Sharon Bohannon, John Kale, Gene Eckert. I think of coaches who built the tradition, Dennis Lampley, Chuck Savino, Joe Bryant, Mickey Colvin. I think of the pillars of this school, people like Joe Demling and Father Harry Jansen. Without them, our school and our athletic programs simply would not be what they are today. And all of them Hall of Famers in their own right, along with so many others that I'm not calling out by name tonight. These were men and women who showed up every day, demanded excellence, and cared deeply about the young men entrusted to us. If I'm standing here tonight, it's because I stood shoulder to shoulder with giants like them. Of course, the championships were special. Being part of football programs that won titles year after year was an honor. And winning Trinity's first state wrestling title in 1989 will always be a proud moment. The young men on those early wrestling teams, Alex Ray, Dave Brennan, and Richard Brown. Richard later coached Trinity's wrestling team to multiple state championships before we lost him far too soon. And so many others will always be special to me. Watching those boys grow, not just as wrestlers, but as men, is something I will always be proud of. One of the best things I ever did here at Trinity had nothing to do with wins or losses. It was helping get Eddie Rudolph hired to teach biology and coach football and wrestling. Eddie's been here since 1989 and is now one of Trinity's longest-serving teachers. He doesn't just know the sports he coached, he understands the school. He understands Trinity's mission. Knowing I was leaving the program to someone who cares so deeply about this place mattered to me. Eddie will no doubt be a part of this Hall of Fame one day. That's how this place endures. It isn't the bricks, it's the bloodline. It is the people investing in people, generation after generation. I have been blessed to see my own family live the Trinity tradition. I watched my son Scott walk through these halls as a student. This spring, I'll watch my grandson John graduate, with my great-grandson Quentin just beginning his journey here. 3 generations, same values, same green and white. Trinity was never just a job for me, it was a calling. This place builds men of faith and character, and I was proud every single day to be part of that mission. If there's one thing I hope you remember about me, it's this. I believed in you. I believed you were capable of greatness, not just on the field or in the classroom, but in life. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your story. In conclusion, I'd like to say a few words personally. Dad, you may not remember every name, every game, every season, every classroom, or every moment, but every one of those moments mattered, and they made a difference. This honor tonight isn't just for what you did, it's for who you are. Congratulations, Coach. You earned this. And the entire Trinity family and our family is proud of you. Trinity forever.
Congratulations, Coach. Our next inductee is Tim Horrigan, a member of the class of 1975. Tim was active at Trinity both academically and in athletics. He served on the student council and played basketball. After graduating from Bellarmine University, Tim began his career with the Home Depot, where he rose to serve as the Executive Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer. Tim engaged in the broader business and education community, serving on Bellarmine's Board of Trustees. His leadership in human resources helped set new standards for how organizations invest in and support their people. Tim and his wife, Jana, have 2 sons. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Horrigan.
Wow, what an august group of individuals. August is my word of the day. I have to use it 10 times and then it will be firmly embedded in my vocabulary. Shout out to Father Sands, wherever you happen to be. To the members of the Trinity Foundation, Trinity School Board, and Trinity Alumni Association, to my fellow inductees, to Rob Mullen, JT, James Tora, the school's faculty and leadership, and to assembled friends and guests, good evening and thank you. It's truly an honor to stand here tonight, back where I experienced so many character-forming parts of my life. Being inducted into the Trinity High School Hall of Fame is something I never imagined when I began walking these halls in 1971. And I'm confident, and Father Zettel, you can attest to this, that most of the faculty didn't imagine that either. Much to the chagrin, another word of the day, of my wife, Jana, my sons, Sean, Trevor, his wife, Alexis, and my darling granddaughter, who you may have heard from previously, I recently retired. When not driving them crazy, I have time for rumination, contemplating how and why I have been so blessed. I often circle back to my time here at Trinity. That was a key formative phase in my development. Trinity is more than a school. It's more than just a name. It reflects the values that shaped me. I believe the name Trinity is a perfect acronym to highlight some of those values. So bear with me. T, thinking independently. Trinity taught me to think for myself. That skill, analyzing, listening, forming an independent point of view, have served me well in every chapter of my life. R, responsibility. From the classroom to the playing field to service projects. Trinity instilled a deep sense of accountability. I learned that my actions matter and that responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege. I, integrity, do the right thing, and do it even when no one is watching. This is non-negotiable. That commitment to honesty and character has guided me throughout my personal and professional life. And networks. One of the greatest strengths of Trinity is the network you join the moment you arrive. The friendships, the mentorships, the brotherhood, all built on traditions going back to 1953. For over 5 decades, that network has been strong in my life, as evidenced by the many here that I am blessed to call friends. I, intellectual curiosity. Trinity pushed me to ask questions and stay curious. That habit kept me learning long after I left the classroom. Tenacity, T. Whether facing a tough class, a challenging season, or a personal setback, Trinity taught me to persevere. Reliance became part of my DNA. And when I think of tenacity, I think of the chant that our friends over on Papa Level Road sometimes would say would be beat the weeds. Isn't it kind of cool to be so tenacious that a weed never goes away? And that's what we've been able to do, and congratulations on the 30th, wow, state championship in football, among many, many other state championships in all sports and in the academic arena as well. And why? Y'all probably thinking, where did he find a why? I got it. Yearning for purpose. I stretched it, okay, but yearning for purpose. Above all, Trinity encouraged me to find meaning in what I do and to use my talents in service in something larger than myself. In closing, I want to thank a few of the many people who made this journey possible. First, my parents, Jim and Gladys, who supported me and my brothers, believed in us, and whose sacrifices provided the foundation for everything that followed. My classmates, particularly a tight group of friends, self-named the Peons. Chris, Tom, Mike, and our late friend, Kenny Ray. And to the extended Peon family, Skip, Greg, Andy, and David Aberly, thank you all for the support throughout those 4 years here at school. And lastly, to all my teachers and mentors, but particularly to Father Castor, who, Greg, you did a great job highlighting Father Castor. What a super, super teacher in many ways. Father Butler, who could ever forget Father Butler? Father Hemmerly, Father Zettel, Bob Hubler, Dennis Esterly, and my favorite of all time, Bob Fott. Their guidance and example shaped me in ways I didn't fully appreciate 2 years later. To all of them and to the Trinity community, thank you for this tremendous honor. It means a great deal. Go Rocks.
Thank you, Tim. Our next inductee is Tony Lococo, honorary member of the class of 2003. During his 42-year Trinity teaching career, Tony shared his love for English and newspaper yearbook journalism. His time at Trinity produced 32 yearbooks and 38 consecutive years of the Echo student newspaper. In 2016, Tony became the first teacher inducted into the Kentucky Journalism Hall of Fame. In 2023, it was announced that Trinity's annual senior class newspaper and yearbook journalism awards would be named in honor of Tony. Tony and his wife Susan have 2 daughters and 3 grandsons. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Lococo.
Two years in, and I have to say, I am not a huge fan of retirement. After running at what often seemed 100 miles an hour for 42 years, I suddenly found myself in a strange state of inertia, lacking the invigorating purpose that propelled me for so long. During the past couple of years, however, retirement handed me a truly wonderful gift, a chance to reflect, a chance to engage the stillness, a chance to remember 1,000 Trinity moments for which I am eternally grateful. The opportunity to look back is akin to standing at the edge of a pond, a sheet of clear water waiting for a ripple. One breath and I see a packed gym and hear the cries for victory banging against the rafters, each class trying to top the others. Unbridled spirit gives way to a soft breeze that runs across the water. With it comes a multitude of memories. A freshman carries a stack of books with the one on top about to fall as he makes his way to his locker on book day. A big sigh of relief and a confident grin as the combination works. A teacher stands in flourish, greeting the throng of students filling halls, chattering and slamming lockers. Guys pile into my classroom, some excited, some weighed down by unknown burdens. Each young man needing a chance to hear and be heard. A colleague comes from across the hall beaming and exclaiming, "The guys finally got it. They made her day. She cares just that much." A leaf caresses the water and the sound of prayers emanate from the chapel. a community drawing strength from Almighty God and requesting assistance for an ailing colleague or student. Rain briefly pelts the water's surface, and I am inundated with sights and sounds. Linked arms in a slightly off-key but ever so passionate rendition of the alma mater at the end of Mass. Walls plastered with Pride Week posters, some hanging a bit precariously as Friday approaches. Journalism guys putting to bed the latest edition of the Echo and presenting to all a much anticipated copy of the Shamrock. A palpable excitement in the halls as Christmas break inches closer. The indecipherable clamor that fills the cafeteria as stories are swapped. The smile from a fellow teacher who stops by at my door and simply asks, "How's it going?" A myriad end-of-the-year events, the wonderful cacophony, the highs and lows of a school year overflowing with accomplishments. Almost too much to take in. The images start to blur as I step back from the water's edge. Please forgive this strange reverie. Once an English teacher, always an English teacher. Reflection in retirement has given me another equally precious gift, gratitude. God blessed me with the opportunity to work with and learn from hundreds of dedicated colleagues and thousands of spirit-filled students at this amazing place called Trinity. I treasure the lifelong friendships that came along the way and will forever miss those whom we have lost. I am grateful for the unwavering support of my wife, Susan, and our daughters, Bobby and Yardley. Susan's endless encouragement and assistance made all things possible. Inclusion in the Trinity Hall of Fame means the world to me. I want to express deep appreciation to President Tora, Dr. Mullen, Dr. Zoller, Father Zettel, the Alumni Association, the Hall of Fame committees, and all who wrote letters of support. I thank God for allowing me to be part of this incredible place. Trinity forever.
Thank you, Tony. Our next inductee is Patrick J. McDaniel, member of the class of 1961. While at Trinity, Pat lettered in football, baseball, and was a member of the Speech and Debate Club. Upon graduation, Pat entered the United States Air Force Academy, earning his bachelor degree in engineering science and ranking in the top 5% of his class. During the Vietnam War, he flew rescue missions in Vietnam, returning to the U.S. in 1970. Pat went on to become an adjunct professor of nuclear engineering at the University of New Mexico, where he taught for 40 years. Pat is a widower with 2 sons and a member of Holy Child Catholic Church in New Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick J. McDaniel.
I am truly humbled to be standing here with this recognition. Trinity provided me many things that helped me along in my career, not the least of which was a strong belief in Catholicism and the moral integrity to stand up for what I thought was right. But I would like to acknowledge a number of the individuals who really helped me in my career. Most have passed, but it's still useful to mention their names. First, I would like to acknowledge Father John Lenihan, who was a freshman, taught me that there was more than one use for a meter stick. After that, I would acknowledge Father Harry Jancy, who taught me and my classmates that priests could be cool, not just religious. He was a bit of a character. Next, I would like to thank Father Joseph Miller, who gave me the chance to overcome apprehension at speaking before an audience like this. That would be followed by Coach Jeep Choir, who taught me how to deal with fear. Being a blocking dummy as a freshman, in my first spring practice facing juniors, really provided a good bit of fear. I remember that to this day. That would be followed by Coach Mike McDonald, who convinced me of the importance of dedication in pursuing personal goals. Of course, there were others that provided negative incentives for achieving success. John Greneau, David Hayslip, and Monsignor Alfred Steinhauser, or Big Al as we called him most of the time, provided real incentives for academic success. I had to make it through college or face returning to meet a chorus of I told you so's. Academically, I would like to thank Mr. Klaus Middleston for teaching me enough German to get me through my undergraduate degree and to get me through a PhD exam 8 years later. I would also like to thank Father C.J. Wagner for teaching me enough rhetoric to make it through 40 years of an academic career or quasi-academic career and to publish several books. This would be followed by Father Thomas Doerr, who embedded in me the importance of actual experimental work, okay, and any form of research. Of course, that's what I did most of my life, okay. But the man that most influenced me was a Father John Gephardt, who burned in me a love of math and physics. He started me on what was, I would consider, the heart of my professional career. Finally, Trinity and its teachers have truly influenced my life, but by far the biggest influence was my parents. I am totally indebted to my parents who provided the Trinity education for me, and in particular to my dad, who served as a Trinidad, which I don't even know that you have those anymore, and coached most of the baseball players on the teams that I played on, including Trinity's. When I was a graduate or student at Trinity, we were the Shamrocks. We never said go Rocks, okay? But I will say go Rocks.
Thank you, Pat. Our next inductee is Stephen F. Schuster, a member of the class of 1961. While at Trinity, Steve participated extensively, from the student newspaper and yearbook to the band and National Junior Honor Society. He was his class valedictorian. Steve graduated from the University of Louisville Brandeis School of Law, and during his years of practice was elected to the College of Trial Attorneys, which restricts membership to the top 1% of attorneys within a given area. Steve was a founding member of the Trinity High School Foundation and served as the foundation president for several years, also providing legal services to Trinity. Steve and his wife Joan have 2 children and 5 grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen F. Schuster.
to where credit is due. I want to give credit to the founding fathers of this school, the first teachers that the school ever had. Almost all of them were priests, and not a one of them ever thought that he would be a high school teacher. But they became teachers when the bishop asked them to, and they became great teachers. I want to talk about just a few of them. Let's start with Monsignor Steinhauser. Everything at Trinity starts with Monsignor Steinhauser. When I was a senior, he coerced me gently into becoming an exchange student in Germany for that summer. So thanks to him, I spent July and August of 1961 in the little city in southernmost part of Germany called Singen. Imagine my surprise when I came home from school one afternoon in late July, walked in the house, and there was Father Steinhauser speaking German with a grandmother who was just delighted to have him there. He told me that he was just in the neighborhood, so he thought he'd stop by and say hello. He became a principal and a very great one. Next, I want to talk about Father David Hazelip. He's been mentioned. One of the most versatile men I've ever met. First of all, he was a wonderful, enjoyable teacher. He even made fourth-year Latin enjoyable, and that's hard to do. He wrote the words to our alma mater, which is still proudly sung today. He wrote the school's first fight song, which I think is still proudly sung today. And he designed and made this emblem back here. That's the work of Father Hazelip. And he was a counselor. When I came home from my first year in college, it was spring break, I think maybe it might have been Easter break, and I was having girlfriend problems, keeping me awake at night. Now, you can't talk about girlfriend problems with your parents. That's just not cool. So I came over here and met with Father Hazelip. Remember his office right back there, a little bitty office. And we had a great visit. And we talked about this and that, and it was breaking up. He said, Steve, about this girlfriend problem of yours, the only advice I can give you is go home, take 2 aspirin, and go to bed. Work. Something about Father C.J. Wagner, he's been mentioned, English teacher extraordinaire, and probably the best friend I ever had in my life. When I had an accident in the summer of 1963 that cost me my right leg and screwed up my left leg, I was in hospital a long time, and Father Wagner came to see me almost every day. And when he noticed that the anesthesia brain had finally cleared off, he started bringing me his students' papers for me to analyze and critique and grade for him. Now, that was hard work. It made me appreciate if you're going to be a good teacher, you better be prepared to spend a whole lot of 12-hour days, which he did. But it wasn't all work. When I was about ready to go home, he bought me an auto bridge game, and he taught me how to play bridge. So when I finally came home, we would set up shop in my parents' living room, and he would bring 2 of the other teachers that I had so we could play bridge. And I remember particularly Father John Butler. He was the one we called Stumpy. And then there was Father Gephardt. He was the one that we called Father Gephardt. Those men brought some joy to what was otherwise a very low point in my life. Next, I want to talk a little bit about Father John Gounod. Father Gounod was the first faculty monitor of the ECHO. the same paper that Tony Lococo took the national honors. Father Greno started it, and that's where I got to know him. And he came back to my life maybe 8 or 9 years later. Father Greno had left the priesthood, married a nun, of course, and he came back here to be the founder of the Trinity High School Foundation. He started it. And I was his first unpaid acolyte. We started with nothing, but we did a lot of begging. We were good at begging, and we got the foundation started, where today it is one of the strongest foundations of any Catholic school in this country and probably in the world. A lot of that credit goes to Charlie King, too, who, when he became the board's financial advisor, he put it into high gear, and his name is over here in what used to be the faculty dining room. Thank you, Charlie. Then I want to talk about a priest that hasn't been mentioned, and many of you probably don't remember him, but his name is Father Eugene Zoller. Father Zoller studied for the priesthood in Sorbonne in Paris. So naturally, when he came here to Trinity, he taught French and religion. But he wasn't here that long. The Archbishop sent him back to Catholic University to get his PhD in theology. So he was there for my junior year and my senior year, and we intermingled a lot during those 2 years and became good friends. I came back to go to law school. He came back to start the School of Theology at Bellarmine and become its first dean. Father Zoller, I didn't know about this, but he was a diabetic, and he developed a diabetic sore on his right foot, which led to gangrene, which meant that he had to have his leg amputated in the same spot, the same leg, as I had my amputation in 1963. I visited him in the hospital, and it was reversed this time. He was the priest was the patient, and I was the visitor. And he was depressed. Noticed that right away. But one afternoon when things slowed down, I shut the door, and we were private, just the two of us. I took my artificial leg off, handed it to him so he could see how light it was. I showed him how easy it was to put it on and take it off, and he could see that I could walk quite well with it. You could kind of see a change in his attitude. He went to the same man who made my prosthesis, made one just like it for him, and he went back to Bellarmine to finish out his tenure in that school of theology. If I did him a favor, he did me one in return. When I married Joan in 1985, Father Zoller was the priest that celebrated our Mass, and I think was the star of our wedding reception. I'm going to end. That's enough of that. But I hope that you can see that this Trinity family started at the very beginning and has grown and grown and grown to what it is today. And we are all part of that Trinity family. And for that, I am grateful. For all of you being here in attendance, I am grateful. And I want to add with my favorite two-word Latin prayer. Join me. Deo gratias. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God.
Thank you, Stephen. Our next inductee is Richard J. Sherman, a member of the class of 1957. Richard is a member of Trinity's 1953 inaugural freshman class. He excelled during his time at Trinity, going on to Louisville Radio School to learn the basics of electricity. After some time in the U.S. Army, Richard began working at Vendome Copper and Brass Works Incorporated, where he and his brother became third-generation owners. About 95% of the world's bourbon is produced in Vendome equipment. In 2005, the Elmore Sherman family of Vendome Copper and Brass was inducted into the Bourbon Hall of Fame. Richard and his wife Carol have 4 children and 2 grandsons. Unfortunately, Richard is unable to be here in person this evening. However, I want to assure you that he is deeply honored to accept this recognition. He extends his heartfelt, whoops, I turned the wrong page. Gratitude to everyone involved, those who nominated him for this incredible honor, as well as the Hall of Fame committees. He is sharing in this celebration with you from home tonight, likely watching this via live stream. Accepting the obelisk on Richard's behalf is his family, Richard Sherman. Richard has 2 granddaughters, too. That's important. I hope you appreciate these inductees, these Trinity giants. To the spirited and truly loyal alumni inducted tonight, you are living reminders of what it means to be a servant. Soon your plaques will be affixed to the walls around campus. With your inductions this evening, our Hall of Fame now numbers 178 members. Teachers will continue to assign work that sees current and future students researching the plaques for information about you. Don't ever doubt it. You're helping us make a difference. Please allow me to publicly thank the Alumni Office for their work in creating this event, Alumni Event Coordinator Bonnie Shellhammer, Administrative Assistant for Alumni Relations Jane Merman, who worked to handle the details to make this a night to be remembered. We thank the 2025 Hall of Fame committees and Committee Chair Matthew Palmer Ball for their invaluable service. Thank you to Mr. Bill Hogue and operations crew for once again doing a marvelous job in setting up our venue. Thank you to Christine Baltus and Chef Alan Henry of Flick Independent Schools Dining for the delicious dinner we enjoyed tonight. Last but certainly not least, thank you to Mr. Matt Manning and Ms. Joy Durbin for their assistance with the souvenir program. These individuals display the pride Trinity has in all that we do as a community. Hall of Fame members, please remember to turn the Hall of Fame medal that you were temporarily given for tonight's event to Brooke Bond or Rudy Voles at the front door where you checked in before leaving. And come back next year and you'll get it back. Please return your name tags to the basket at the check-in table too before leaving. Last, I'd ask the inductees and all Hall of Fame members in attendance tonight to please come to the stage immediately following the event. We want to take a group picture of the newest Hall of Fame members, and we would also like to take a group photo with all Hall of Fame members in attendance. Also, tonight's inductees, if you can, please bring your obelisk with you. Also, please remember to take home the collectible engraved ornament depicting Flagey Hall that is on your table. I want to thank you all sincerely for coming tonight. Have a very blessed Christmas, a joyous New Year. Trinity forever. Thank you.